Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's October 30th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and we're almost about to wrap up another month here. They just keep flying by. It's hard to believe this year's almost over, but we've got about two more trading months in this year, and we'll be looking at 2018. So, um, yeah, not a lot happening today. We did have one nice move down, but you can see we were real tight sideways prior to that and real tight sideways after that move down. So if you caught any of these, you probably had a pretty good day. Otherwise, you didn't have a lot to choose from. You just really did. And this stuff you just have to stay out of. It just really gets too tight. Um, but anyway, let's talk about the trades. That one's colored wrong there. Don't know how I managed to put a red one going up there, but we'll change it real quick. Don't want to confuse anybody. But that should be a long trade right there. And but let me explain. We traded down. We started going sideways. We actually had a break here in a new low already. It was really tempting to go long here. It was even tempting to go long here, but with all this resistance right here, you don't have enough room really. Maybe on this one. But you generally need to wait on a higher low unless you're a little bit further away from the EMA and you're just not that far away there, especially on this one. Plus on this one, you don't really have enough room to get out. You could probably argue for that one to be green, but it wouldn't have mattered. You'd have lost on it, so I'm not going to mark it. A lot of times it's hard to sit there, and so the fact that we were, and there's some clues here. Let me show you this. You made a double top. You made a lower high and then another lower high here. And then you were stacked up here. And this is pretty close to being the doji. It didn't close right at center, but it's not far off of it. It's more bullish than it is neutral, but it's kind of a neutrally, semi-neutral bullish bar. But the only thing that really would maybe keep you from going long here is those lower highs, and the fact that you don't have a lot of room here. So later on I move this up a little bit, but for now you would have had this right here. And then finally you get the failed break lower. You're a little bit away from the EMA. You've had your break of this trend line here, and you've had one leg, then a little correction, another leg. And so that's a nice little reversal type bar. It's not very big either. It's only about 3 ticks. So I like that one. That gives you a nice move. And look how it shoots right through there. It looks a lot like a reversal pattern, but look what you got to go long into right here. So you just got to skip that. It's also tempting to go short as well, but look at this big neutral bar here. So you got 3 or 4 bars stacked up, a doji in there. You're better off just to stay out. And you get a breakout pullback long here, but you've almost got a measured leg, and so that's got me real hesitant to go long right there. Even though it would have worked, I think again you just got to skip that trade and look for a possible short. And then of course you get 2 legs up now. And that's another thing about going short right here. You got this little trend line working up, and it did make a new high there. So you're kind of looking for prices to try to make a high. And so you're not really looking to go short here more than you are to go long. And really you're just better off to stay out of there. So, but anyway, I forgot to mention that part of it. But now you got 2 legs. Now you got a break, 2 legs up. Nice bearish reversal bar, a little matching double high and a failed break above it. Plus this pretty much tests the overnight high. And so I like going short just to try to ride it back to the EMA, and maybe you'll catch that major high. Down here you were hoping maybe you catch the major low. You did catch a nice low, but it's not a major one. But this does catch a major high. And if you catch this, you actually don't get a runner on this one, but if you catch this one or this one, you catch a runner on it. And notice that somebody will probably ask me, why did you start your trend line here? Well, we didn't really start the trend down until right there. You could there's probably another trend line you could argue for here, um, like so. It doesn't really help you though. You're better off to play this shorter term one. And but notice what happens. You got a high foot first entry long, second entry long. So there's your failed second entry. I like going short right there, looking to just ride this back to the other side. And then when it shoots lower and comes back, if you're not out yet, you could add on. And if you haven't gotten in yet, I'd definitely say I'd want to get in on this big bar right here. You might let it break lower and drop your limit order back here where you normally would have. You probably wouldn't have got filled though. And then off it goes. And this turns out, if you'd caught any of these, well, any of these two right here, you probably wouldn't have had a runner on this one, depending on how you entered it. But you should have probably got a runner on both of those. And then it's really tempting to go short here after this break, and you might get another leg down too. But this is really your signal bar. You could use this for your signal bar, but now you're going short right into the lows. Even though it works, you don't want to take that risk. And then we bounce here. We're coming back. And notice this is not a perfect reversal pattern, but look what happens. You push up, you go right through the EMA, that first entry, and then you go higher again, and then you try to come back. And even though it doesn't break lower there, it does come back and test, and it doesn't really go any lower. It does bounce off and give you kind of a third test. So I like going long there. You didn't really have a lot of resistance here at that point. You just had that one turn down. So it wasn't until we got later over in here that you really start to see all that resistance stacking up across there. So so now you got two legs up again, and at this point you're figuring, hey, we may either go back into the original range or we may get a reversal, because we've had this one's played out. You got the break, a new low, and now you're working up, but you get the break, and so you're kind of looking for a long here. And then notice what happens. You've got basically got two legs down, but it tries to go up once, or it tries to go lower once there, and then twice, and then it reverses and it bounces right off that kind of previous little support area right across there. And so I like that one. Just trying to catch a scalp, and it's a double bottom on a higher low, so there's a chance you might get another leg up there. That's what I was really hoping, or would hope there, is that you'd get this next leg up, like this one right here. But either way, that's your first break of that little channel, so you're still looking, it's possible you may get a retest. But once you turn down here multiple times, you can kind of see that, hey, now we got some strong resistance here. And so I wouldn't have a problem trying to get short there. Only problem is you just kind of going sideways there again, and that's congestion, and that's not a perfect signal bar. It is a double test of this level here. It does look like we're back in a range here, and so if we're just going to the other side, there's plenty of room there. So you might consider that one, but that late in the day, that kind of setup, it's not a high probability setup, so I'm probably going to skip it. I didn't draw the line across here, but you've got resistance right there. And it could turn down there, and notice it did hold up there. It didn't end up bouncing, but I still wasn't 100% convinced that we may not get a trap and try to get that measured leg up there. So there's reasons to consider that short, but I'm not crazy about it. And it did look like it was going to trap people for a minute there, although you would have probably had room to scalp out anyway. It looked like it was going to trap people to the short side, and it just turns out to be a long trap, and it turns back down again. But that's because we're in a range, and it's not as clear along the bottom, but it's pretty clear across this top. And then notice what happens when we had the failed breakout to the bottom. It bounces and goes higher, and then you have the failed breakout to the top, and it turns back down. Just what you'd expect on a range. So not a lot of trades today. Not a lot of big moves. This was really your only big move of the day. Other than that, we were in a tight range. till that happened, and we finished in a tight range. We closed at what, 26, 25.68 and a quarter or so. So we basically went sideways and closed down a little bit, which has been our typical MO lately. But it's Monday and not much else you can talk about today, so I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.